Full-time Devils, this is the Arsenal preview. I'm Gaz, that's Jay. Jay, let's get straight into it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just cannot stop winning away games, even when we think it's impossible. Yeah, in fact, he just can't stop winning games. He had 1 L on his record, 1 loss, and now that's obsolete.
You're not counting that, are you?
I'm not counting it.
I saw what you tweeted.
He's unbeaten.
Doesn't count
Ole
that
Gunnar
loss.
Solskjaer is unbeaten. Can he be stopped at the Emirates this weekend?
In a simple answer, no. I don't think he can. I think that if you look at our record against Arsenal, is pretty good. I think we've won 3 and lost 1 of the last 6. And just with the Ole factor as well, and the fact that I always think we've got Arsenal's number. I do. I just think that one of those teams, even going back like a few years when Arsenal were doing relatively well, I always felt confident going into that game, more than I would so against any of the other top 6. So no, I don't think we can be stopped. I think Ole's on the march, and I think that from his press conference, there could be a couple of players coming back in as well, because let's face facts, if he can go to Paris with 9 players out, whatever it was, and get a result, he can go to the Emirates and do it.
It's like I don't want to compare Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Alex Ferguson too much here.
Why not?
But sure, why not? Let's go for it. It's a proper Fergie trait though, isn't it? That PSG game, playing players who are not capable of that sort of performance, or you wouldn't think they are, and then somehow getting so much out of them. Players like McTominay, players like Pereira, players that I didn't think were that good.
I know, you can imagine everyone just deleting old tweets, can't you? Because it's just like everybody, I might have been guilty of that one, I've had to do a few disclaimers, where, you know, the players that you thought, oh, he's never good enough for United, all of a sudden, Ole's made them good enough, he's made them, you know, top level players almost overnight, and it's amazing. You're right, it is a Fergie trait. I mean, you look at Arsenal, everyone remembers that famous Arsenal game where we had like Darren Gibson as our midfield linchpin and the Silva brothers as wingers, and we won. And
then other players that, like, I don't want to say were bad players because they're great Premier League players who had incredible careers, but at Manchester United played above their station. A player, Darren Fletcher, for example, who I think was a great player, very intelligent footballer, but Ferguson got so much more out of him than I thought he would have had at any other team.
Yeah, he's a great example, because I remember the stick that Fletcher used to get was just beyond the pale, really. Loads of fans. I mean, this was before social media.
Also, this is when we were winning.
Yeah,
like, he was getting abuse when we were winning. Imagine
we were winning titles and getting to Champions League finals, and everyone was whinging. But yeah, he got a lot of stick. Fergie's love child and all the rest of it. Part of the problem is he played on the right wing when he first started, which he's never a right winger. But he knuckled down. He had that right mentality, and he had a coach and a manager that believed in him and got the best from him. And that's what you've got now. You've got a coach in Mickey Phelan and a manager even in Ole, who can get the best out of these players, the beliefs there, and they know these players, they've worked with them before, and I think that's a big factor as well. You've not got a manager coming in who doesn't know anything about them and who just thinks, oh, you know, Pereira, he's been on loan a few times, don't rate him, I'll bring in a £70 million midfielder or whatever. Mickey and Ole know these players, and they know they can get something out of them, and let's face facts, these players haven't come through United route youth teams and made it to the first team by luck. It's difficult to get to that level, and they've got there for a reason. The reason they've got it is because they're talented players, and if you think with the right sort of coaching, they can play a big part in United's success, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Exactly. I thought that the lads were brilliant the other day, and McTominay as well, a player that I'd picked out because he's a player that I don't think will have a long career at Manchester United. I'm not sure he's quite at that calibre, but the performances he's been putting in recently with the midfield injuries we've had, just brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're right, he may be one of those players like a Darren Fletcher, because people forget Fletcher when everyone was fit, when you had the likes of Carrick and even Hargreaves, people forget that sort of time. He wasn't first choice, but when he came in, he did a great job, and that could be the case with McTominay.
Do you agree that there is really no reason now that we can't be challenging for 2 trophies this season? People, we're in the FA Cup, that's very winnable, we can do that under any circumstances. And in the Champions League, people will say, well, you know, you're not good enough to win the Champions League. 3 weeks ago, you were saying there's no way that that's going to happen. But the only thing stopping us thinking we were going to win it was, well, wait till we play a big team. We've just overturned a 2-0 deficit, which has never been done in the Champions League before. We can win it. Why not?
Why not? I mean, you're into the last 8, you've always got a chance. And you look at some of the teams, people have to remember as well, the best team in Europe doesn't necessarily win the Champions League.
No,
I know
exactly.
That might sound a bit crazy, but when you look back to, going all the way back to Porto 2004, the Scousers when they won it, you could maybe argue Inter when they won it under Jose. Obviously, even Real Madrid haven't necessarily been the best team in Europe when they've had all these Champions League wins. You just need a team that on its day can beat anyone, and that's like United at the minute. You know, we've already proven it to a certain extent. We've gone to Paris, we've won, even under Mourinho went to Turin and we won. We've been to the Emirates. We've been to
that Turin win.
Yeah, people forget about that.
Forget about that. That was one of our best European nights.
When we went down, everyone thought, according to Martin Keown, it was the greatest European night in United's history. I don't know about that one.
Remember that? That was brilliant. Martin Keown, Man United winning in the group stage is the best European result ever.
Yeah, I'm not quite on that page. But no, we know that this group of players, when everyone, not even when I was going to say when everyone's fit, but even when half the team are out, we can beat anyone. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be looking at winning the Champions League as a possibility. Ollie's looking at it like that. He says, Manchester United, you're here to win trophies. We always believe that. So why not? I don't quite agree with someone I heard on the phone in saying that we can win the league this season. But I think that might be a bit. I think the treble might be off, but definitely, I think we can definitely win the FA Cup. We can do what Di Matteo did at Chelsea.
That's just easy as that, isn't it?
Easy, just win the Champions League and FA Cup.
Just forget about top four then, I suppose.
Yeah,
no, but I think that now this season, top four still has to be that number one priority. He goes back into the Champions League next season. I'm very confident for the FA Cup. As much to say that I actually think we will win the FA Cup. I think we'll win it. As for the Champions League, I'm not too sure. Anything could happen. But what do you think? Out of those three things, what will we get come end of the season?
I think we can get top four. I actually think we can get third in the league. I think that's a possibility. I know that's a big statement to make because Spurs have, even though they've had a little bit of a blip with the two losses that they had before they drew with Arsenal, have had a pretty amazing season. But I think that strength and depth isn't quite there for Spurs.
We could play them in the next round of the Champions League, couldn't we?
Yeah, I think so. We can potentially play anyone. Yeah. So yeah, I think top three is a possibility. A third is a possibility. I think we, like yourself, definitely FA Cup. Why not? We've got nothing to fear in that. And the Champions League, you just have to wait and see, really, don't you? I think my biggest worry with the Champions League isn't. I don't mind getting a Liverpool or a City when it's two legs. My biggest worry is we get them. I know it sounds crazy, we get to the final and it's one of them two.
Yeah,
I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Even though I just said we can beat anyone that day. It's too the disappointment if we lost that.
Nauseous already.
Over two legs, I fancy us, but against one of them in the final, I won't be able to cope.
Can you imagine Man United versus Liverpool in a Champions League final?
It almost happened in 2007, didn't it? When we got knocked out against Milan and they went through to the final. But no, it'd just be too much to bear. Although saying that, Klopp always loses finals, so we'd win.
Very good point, very good point. Right, moving on, we've talked about some players coming back into the team, which is obviously good news. However, one key player, in fact I'd say the most important player when you go into Arsenal and playing at the Emirates is Jesse Lingard, who is going to be out still. Pogba to stand in and make that ground his dance floor here then?
Well, this is it, Jesse's dance floor, isn't it, the Emirates? Yeah, I thought Pogba in the second half, particularly against Arsenal, was just outstanding last time we played him. And if he can find those sort of levels again, I think even though Lingard loves playing against Arsenal, loves scoring against Arsenal, he's always got their number and we are going to miss him. It's a big loss for us. I think that, you look towards Pogba, he'll be absolutely chomping at the bit. He was obviously buzzing in Paris, but he'll have been gutted. He'll have been gutted he wasn't part of that team, part of the playing squad. So he'll want to make up for that. And I think that there's talk that Martial could be back in there. Which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't think he'd be fit if that's the case. But even if Martial isn't fit, I think you look at Pogba plus Lukaku's on fire, Marcus as well, who's just at the top of his game at the minute. He's one of the best attackers out there. So I don't think we've got anything to fear from Arsenal. I think that, like you said, I think Pogba can dominate them really. I think he's done it already, and I think they're missing is it Lucas Torreira. So I think they're going to struggle without him a little bit as well. So yeah, if Pogba's on it, I think we'll be
look at the Arsenal midfield as well, and you're thinking like, who are they going to try and put on Pogba? Who is the midfield battle going to be? And I was looking at it, I was like, Pogba Xhaka? Really?
Yeah.
Is that a battle?
He's not got the discipline for me, Xhaka, to do that role. I know what you mean, and they have used him there, but he often goes wandering. He doesn't sort of stay where he needs to stay. And you look at PSG's a good example where they had, was it Marquinhos on Pogba?
Yeah.
Who just stuck with him. Didn't let him out of his sight. And he, it really styled for him. I don't think Arsenal have got someone who will do that, who's got the ability and B, the discipline to do that to Pogba. And I think he just gets that little bit of space, Pogba, and he's away. And I think we saw it in the game a few weeks ago where the way he ran through the midfield for our last goal was just amazing, and I think he could do it again.
We're going to talk about predicted 11s in a sec, but before we get into that, what formation do you think we're going to go at this one with? Because we heard Lukaku after the PSG game, which is, you don't see many players do this, but they asked him, do you prefer playing with two up front? And he just straight up went, yeah, of course I do, it's great, it's loads better. So are we going to see two up front in this next game as well?
Possibly, yeah. I think that, yeah, it's funny that he said, I wouldn't have thought it would have. I would have thought it'd have been something like what we've seen in the past with like a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
That's the sort of standard formation for a lot of clubs now. I know United's is a bit more changeable when we've got the likes of Matic, Herrera and Pogba, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 4-2-3-1, despite what Big Ron wants. And even though you've got to keep him happy, I think it will be a 4-2-3-1. But you never know with Ollie, because he might, you know, he was a striker himself. He knows he got to keep the strikers happy, so he might go with two up top. And let's face facts, you've got Rashford and Lukaku, the form they're in as your two strikers, you're going to get goals.
Right, what's your team? Do you have one in mind?
I'm going to go.
Don't copy mine. He's got nothing written down. He's got doing this off the cuff.
Ad-lib, professional. I'm having a shock with this. I've only done it once and I'm bottom of the table, so I'm going to go. I think it'll be the same team as we saw against Paris, but I think it'll be Pogba in for Fred.
Right, okay. I've gone for De Gea in goal. Delo in at right back for Ashley Young. I think that'll happen.
Yeah, I think he'll just got to stick with Young, but that's not a bad shout.
Smalling, Lindelof, Shaw in midfield. I've gone for a 4-3-3 actually. Fred, McTominay, Pogba in midfield, and then up front, I've no idea how these players are going to be organised. Absolutely no idea, but I've just done it. Martial, Rashford, Lukaku. Don't know who's going to be on the right, who's going to be on the left, who's going to be up front. I just want it just to be a creative sort of interchangeable front three. So yeah, let's talk about Arsenal a little bit more. Where are their threats? Where are their biggest threats? Is it Lacazette up top, who, by the way, in his best ever season, has scored less goals than Romelu Lukaku, who was going through a goal drought and wasn't good enough for a Premier League striker?
I think, yeah.
Not long ago.
I know it's funny how people forget, or the narrative changes, doesn't it? But I think, to be fair, Lacazette, he's come on a lot. I watched him last season. I thought he was dreadful. I mean, I know that's harsh. He still scored a few goals, but he just didn't impress me at all. And this season, him and Aubameyang have, I think it's 28 goals in the Premier League between them, something like that, which is, you know, you can't be sniffing at.
That's a good record.
Yeah, it's a decent record. I think they've looked good. I think they're the sort of strikers that suit Arsenal as well. They're a bit more established. They've been around a little bit. There's probably less likely that someone's going to come and poach them, because I think they're both sort of, I think Lacazette's sort of 27, 28 or whatever, and Aubameyang's almost 30. So yeah, those two are a worry, but I think that if you look at Chris Smalling and Victor Lindelof, the way they played against Paris Saint-Germain, Smalling for me, the last few games has been outstanding. I think that in Paris he was my man of the match.
I think that was his best game in a Man United shirt. Even during that period under Van Gaal where he looked really solid, I think that last night was the best I've seen him.
He made Mbappe look average. He did. Even when Mbappe went past him, which was unlucky on Smalling's part, because he just sort of caught the ball and it slowed it down for Mbappe. The tackle that he made to make amends was just ridiculous. So yeah, I think I wouldn't fear Aubameyang and Lacazette against Smalling and Lindelof. I think we can keep them quiet. You've got to be careful, you've got to be mindful, because there will be a threat, especially at home. They've got a point to prove, and I think that there will be a little bit of a wounded animal sort of mentality in them, because they've had almost the opposite result of what we had. Yeah. We've had a great result in Europe, they've had a shocking one.
Funny how their narrative changed, didn't it, by the way, when we beat PSG? Oh, you just beat a team from the Farmers League.
No, it's right, yeah. Why did they bother Arsenal?
I know.
They just make a rod for their own back all the time.
Every single time.
You think they'd learn, but no, I think it's weird, isn't it? Because I don't remember feeling this confident.
I hate it.
I'm like, getting the cockiness has come back, the arrogance. It's just like I genuinely don't fear like anything. It's like
not even just football related.
I don't.
You don't look for crossing the road.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, it's weird. I just feel like we can go there and just, even with the injuries we've got, I still feel confident we can beat them. And you know, that wouldn't have been happening a few months ago. I'd have been really worried at a full strength team. So yeah, I don't think Arsenal got too much to offer. You do have to be mindful, because they are a top team. It's, we're not talking about relegation battles.
No, they're in the table.
Exactly. I think it's 1 point between us.
I think so.
Emirates is obviously a good coach, and they have got some talented players. But yeah, you've got to feel confident in a minute. You really have the way the team are playing.
At the minute, you look at our form, and it is easy to get overconfident. But like you say, you need to remember this is a massive top four battle. This game, whoever wins it. I mean, if Arsenal were to win this, it could potentially really spur them on for a third place finish potentially. So we need to be at our best. I think we'll get the win. I think we'll do it 2-0. Relatively confident. What are you saying, Jay? I'm
going to go with 3-1. I think 3-1's a popular scoreline, not just with United at the minute, but obviously United and Arsenal. You might even stay awake for this one.
Right. We're not. I didn't want to get into this.
Address this, mate. I almost forgot.
I do a breakfast show, which means I have to get up in the morning at about 4 a.m. So
you're a young man.
During Manchester United and PSG, I made the foolish decision to watch it on my laptop in bed and may have fallen asleep in the 60th minute.
I'm going to put it out there that I reckon, right, you can comment on it, I reckon you're the only Man United fan even, on the planet that fell asleep during that second half.
If it makes you feel any better, I woke up at 2 a.m. like just with a laptop open. I was like, what's happened? Check the score, and I didn't sleep after that. Honestly, I didn't sleep. I've still not slept since.
I've done it for the odd boxing fight that's on at 4 a.m, but I've never done it for United in a Champions League knockout.
Right, well, get in your comments below with your opinions on the game, your score predictions, who you think's going to play, and reasons why I'm a red. This has been Jay. My name's Gaz. This has been the Full Time Devils Arsenal preview. All the fan cams coming this weekend, and we'll see you there in a bit. Laters.